Hello, guys. Sorry I'm not there with you in person, but my son is sick. He has an ear infection, so hopefully I'll be with you guys on Tuesday. However, you are still in school today and you're required to work, and that is my expectation of you. So I am doing extra work in order to make sure we stay on task and to make sure that we are caught up on our schedule so that we don't fall super behind. So I have a couple of announcements. First period, your binders have been graded. I will put in those grades into Infinite Campus when I get back. I am pretty shocked at some of the grades that I'm about to input. It is a free 100% quiz grade. Same goes to you, third period. I have not graded yours from last week because obviously you saw I had to go get my son. So I will do those this week. So in the meantime, please fix your binders. It is the easiest thing in the world. All right, this Friday is our test for this new unit in quadratics. Okay, so all last week we geared up with factoring and taking out the GCF. And this week we're going to focus on solving the quadratics in 3 different ways. Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of those ways. The Unit 4 exponentials test that you guys took 2 weeks ago, maybe, are graded, and they are in Infinite Campus, I think. You have 2 weeks to do the IXL remediation, and I will assign that when I get there Tuesday. And you have to do, besides the IXL, you have to also come in for tutoring. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be my co-teacher, Ms. John Tiam. It can be anybody, okay? So you need to get that done because some of those tests were horrific. Okay. Also tomorrow, I will assign IXL. We are about to do, and it's not just our class, it's all the Algebra 1 classes are about to go through and review for the milestone. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to Unit 1 and start with that material, and we're going to do it through IXL. Okay, so I'm not going to overload you with a bunch of assignments through there because we will also have class assignments to do. Okay, so I'm only going to do like 4 or 5 topics, not a bunch. And so I will assign that when I get there Tuesday, and it will be due at the end of the week. Okay, so we're going to start doing that every week. We're going to have an IXL assignment, and that'll be for a formative grade. Okay, if you forgot your login, I will reprint you your login when I get there on Tuesday. Okay. The quiz. First period, you did not take the quiz, and you know why. But we do not have time for a quiz, okay? So we're just going to move on, and your test is going to be your ultimate grade, okay? So there you go. Third period, Ms. John Tiam tells me that your quiz grades were terrible. So we're going to take today, the first half of today, and we're going to review factoring quadratics. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 different ways. I want you to pick one way and use that way for the rest of your life. Okay, so pick one way, use that one. All right, and then the back half of today, we are going to solve quadratics by factoring. So factoring doesn't just go away. You have to use it in what we're about to do. Okay? Okay. I hope you did your warm-up. The warm-up was to list 3 things that you're going to do in order to prepare for this Friday's test on quadratics. Okay, so I hope you did that. I always look at these and I always read them. I'm amazed at what some of you put and the lack of what is written. Some of you, it's really exciting and it's fun to read, like the things that you enjoy doing in fall. I put smiley faces on some of your papers. It was nice to read. Okay, so what you need now is a sheet of notebook paper, okay, for this review. All right, so get out a sheet of notebook paper, and I want you to make it look exactly like this. Okay, so I want you to turn it sideways, and I want you to write the title at the top, Factoring Quadratics, 3 Methods, and then go ahead and separate your paper into 3 columns. Okay, the first column we're going to call slide, stop, divide. Oops, I missed an E, my bad. Slide, stop, divide, bottom, top. That's the method that I showed you guys initially in class. The next one I want you to write is snowflake. Okay, first period, you got a little taste of that one. And then the third column, I want you to write box. All right, some guys in third period, I showed you how to do the box method. I think, Peyton, you used this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do each of these three. They're all three different methods, but guess what? They get you the same thing. Okay, so since we're all different people and our minds work differently, I think one of these you will get as opposed to the other two. Okay, so I'm going to show you all three, and I want you to pick one way. All right, so I'm waiting for you to write down what's on this, separate your paper, and I'll keep waiting. Are you done yet? Are you done yet? How about now? Are you done yet? Okay, if you're not done, pause this video and then replay me when you're ready to go. But don't waste time. Here we go. The first method, slide, stop, divide, bottom, top. Ooh, I put my E in there this time. Go me. Okay, slide, stop, divide, bottom, top. These are the notes that you have. I think it's page 1 in your binder. All right, and we're going to use this quadratic. We're going to use 2x squared minus 9x plus 10. Okay, so in your column, write this at the top, 2x squared minus 9x plus 10. Okay, for slide, stop, divide, bottom, top, you need to prepare your parentheses and write your 2 x's to prepare for what's about to come. Okay? Now, step 1 is slide. So you're going to slide from front to back. Okay? So you have a 2 in the front and a positive 10 in the back. So 2 times positive 10 is a positive 20. Okay, now you're going to stop and you're going to think of all the factors that multiply to get positive 20. So I think of 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3, nothing works with 3, 4 times 5 is 20, and then if I think of 5, then that would be 4 again. So I have completely finished because you can wrap back up and name them backwards. 5 times 4, 10 times 2, 20 times 1. So I'm good. I've hit all of them. Okay. Now I need to think about this middle term right here, this negative 9. I need to add these such that I get a negative 9. However, if I add all of these currently, I would actually get positive numbers, right? I would get 1 plus 20 is 21, 2 plus 10 is 12, 4 plus 5 is positive 9. But I don't want a positive 9, so it looks like it could be 4 and 5, but I want a negative 9. So I got to go back and think, okay, if it's positive 20 and I'm multiplying, positive times a positive, positive times a positive is a positive, but then there's another option. I could have a negative times a negative equal a positive. So what if all of these numbers are now negatives? Okay, well, how would that change my answer? So let's see, negative 1 plus negative 20 is still 21, but it's a negative 21. Negative 2 plus negative 10 is a negative 12. And negative 4 plus negative 5 is negative 9. So check it out. That is what we want, negative 9. So it looks like my two numbers that fit are negative 4 plus negative 5. Okay, so I'm going to input those negative 4 and negative 5 into my spaces. Now I'm going to divide. All right, well, what the heck am I going to divide by? I'm going to divide by the front number. Now, some of you guys have been dividing by the front, but you keep assuming it's a 1. It's not always a 1. It could be, in this case, like a 2. So I'm going to divide by the front number, which is 2. Okay, and then I just created fractions. 4 divided by 2 and 5 divided by 2. So I'm going to look at those fractions and see, can I maybe reduce? And I can. So this first one, -4 divided by 2 is a -2. And this one, -5 divided by 2, does not reduce. It's just -5 over 2. If you put this in your calculator, it will give you a decimal. Push that on your calculator, the little arrow button. I think it looks like this. It's like right above enter, or it might look like this. I'm not really sure, but check it out. It's one of those buttons, and it turns your decimal back to a fraction. So -5 over 2 does not reduce. So now after divide, I do bottom top. So this bottom of the fraction, the denominator, comes up in front of the x. So now it is 2x minus 5. And those are my two factors. Okay, so that was slide, stop, divide, bottom, top. So now let's move on to the next method, which is the second column. We're going to call it snowflake. Some people call it the big X. Some people call it big snowflake, whatever. So what you're going to do first is you're going to draw an X, a big old X. And then to make the snowflake part, you're just going to cut the snowflake in half like that. Okay? So we're going to use the same polynomial. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite it up here. You don't have to rewrite it if you don't want to, because you already have it in that first column. So 2x squared minus 9x plus 10. I'm going to do some color coding because I'm pretty visual. So I'm going to make this a 2. This is my a value. This -9 is my b value. And this +10 is my c value. Okay, so when you're doing the big snowflake, it is a graphic organizer to just organize your numbers. Okay, so the top is going to be a times c. Okay, so you would look and you go, okay, my a is 2, my c is +10, so a times c, 2 times 10 is a +20. So you'd write 20 up in the top of the snowflake. Then the bottom of the snowflake is just your b value. Okay, but you got to include the sign, so it's -9. So I would write -9 down here. Now, the bottom sides of your snowflake right here is always whatever your a is with an x on both sides. Whatever your a is with an x. So in this case, my a is a 2. So I would write 2 with an x. 2 with an x. Okay? Now, the top wing of your snowflake is just going to be the two numbers, which we're going to call your factors, because they are factors. But it's the two numbers that when you multiply, you get the top number. But when you add the two numbers, you get the bottom number. So you got to think, all right, what multiplies to get 20 that adds to get -9? So we've done this before. We've listed the numbers. So I would think 4 and 5. 4 and 5. But in order for them to add to get -9, I would need these to be two negative numbers. Okay? Now, you see how we just created fractions right here on the sides of the snowflake? We got -4 over 2 and -5 over 2.